like everybody else. When my shows were 1, 2, and 3 of the ratings, I remember I told my wife, "Hey, why don't we?" She says, "I know, it's wonderful. Come help me take out the garbage."
Producer-director Garry Marshall today on Now I've Heard Everything. I'm Bill Thompson. Well, if you've ever watched Laverne and Shirley, or Happy Days, or Mork and Mindy, or any of a dozen other popular TV shows, you've seen the work of Garry Marshall. Now, if you've ever seen the movie Pretty Woman, or Overboard, or The Princess Diaries, you've seen the work of Garry Marshall. For years, one of the most successful producer-directors in Hollywood, it turns out Garry Marshall was also halfway decent actor. You may have seen him on TV's Murphy Brown, or in his sister Penny Marshall's movie A League of Their Own. Well, in 1995, Garry Marshall, not long after he turned 60, wrote a book that was autobiographical-ish called Wake Me When It's Funny. And that's when I had the chance to spend a few minutes with him. So in just a moment, our conversation.
We're about to take a step back and listen to an iconic voice from our recent past. It's one of over 10,000 interviews noted radio personality Bill Thompson did over a 30-year span. We think you'll enjoy it.
So here now, from 1995, Garry Marshall.
I see all the people that come to Hollywood. I've been out there 35 years, and I see very talented people come there, and they never get any place. They can't swim the maze of mixed up things. They can't take the rejections. Whatever it is, they don't make it. So I seem to have survived, and I've made mistakes you wouldn't believe. I failed. I messed up things. But I seem to have survived. So I wrote the book to pass on some of the things I think it takes to survive in Hollywood for both people going out there, people interested in show business, and a lot because parents keep talking to me about, should my kid go out there? What's my kid getting into? So this will help parents whose kids or relatives are interested in show business. The other reason is that I've worked with so many stars. I've had the fortunate career to have started with Lucy and Dick Van Dyke Show, and I write about them all the way through my own series with Hardcover with Jack Klugman. So I've been with my sister Penny, Robin Williams, who I helped mount in Mork and Mindy and frame him for stardom, Henry Winkler, who we found on Happy Days, and all these people into the movie career I've had. I've done 9 movies now, where Matt Dillon, we did in Flamingo Kid, to Tom Hanks and I, Nothing in Common, which turned both our careers around to show that we could do a movie that was comedy and dramatic, to Bette Midler, Al Pacino, and Michelle Pfeiffer, all these wonderful people I talk about in the book, plus Julia Roberts, who I also had the pleasure of helping find, and Richard Gere. So all of that, from the comedy of Goldie Hawn to the intensity of Al Pacino, and even my failures, Exit to Eden, Dana Delaney, Rosie O'Donnell, not a big hit, but still all the chances I took, the people I worked with, and how I swam it for 35 years.
Do you properly call this an autobiography, a memoir, a how-to?
I think it's an autobiography, but done to be helpful to others following this path. And I didn't mean to answer that question so long, Bill, but I got carried away, and now I'm going to talk shorter.
But that's why you're successful, isn't it? Because you're passionate about what you do. You're so interested. You're so wrapped up. After 35 years, you can still get excited to go on and on and on with an answer.
Right. Well, I'm doing a picture I started in December, and I'm shooting in New York and L.A. I think that's what I always advise people. Find something you're passionate about, because things go wrong. Life is very difficult. And so if you have something you really love to do, and there's somebody out there who loves to see it, I'll keep working. So yes, I have a picture coming up. I may do one more TV series, but I think today, people ask me, what's different? I think today, a lot of people in Hollywood do a movie or TV series, and they kind of have disdain for the audience, or a disdain for what they're doing. I think you got to love what you're doing. The shows of the 70s, Norman Lear's All in the Family, Danny Arnold's The Cop Show, and MASH, and all those. We loved our shows. I loved the movies. Hit or miss. I did Me and the Chimp. Oh, was that a mess? But I went in with a passion. Maybe this chimp could work. The chimp was no good, Bill. I don't want to tell you about what happened, but it's in the book. But even my flops, I had a certain passion going in, so I still can get excited. And I'm not a young kid anymore. I've been doing it a long time.
This is something you wanted to do from age 4, right?
Well, no, I wasn't those fortunate people who know what they want to do at a young age. I was floundering around. I saw Colin Powell, who also has a book. Funny, he went in the Army a private, came out a general. I went in a private, came out a private. It's a different book, my book, but it's being successful in other things. He said something about he was a student, wandering around student, couldn't figure out what to do. That's what I was, all through college, even after college. I couldn't figure out what it was I wanted to do. I had failed at so many other things that I said, no, I don't want to do something I'm no good at. And finally, humor and jokes and that, I found that I loved it and I could do it. I loved playing the drums, no good. I loved playing sports, no good. I have a degree in journalism from Northwestern, no good as a journalist. So many no goods. I was a stand-up comic for a minute, no good. So finally I found humor and I got to write, direct, act. I talk about all of this. A lot of people want to be writers about that in the book. And now I'm acting on Murphy Brown, so I finally found a way to do humor as an actor.
Is it more difficult as an actor than as a writer?
Well, as a writer, you write the humor for somebody else. As an actor, they write it for you, and the writers on Murphy Brown are very good. I think sometimes you got to make it work as an actor, and sometimes the writing don't work. So being on both sides, I appreciate the writer so much, and as a writer, I appreciate having acted how much the actor has to do. Directing and producing, you could just have to be an adult. That's the hint. That's why I was a hit in Hollywood originally. I went out there, I saw nobody wanted to be an adult. They all wanted to be temperamental babies. Everybody, writers, directors. So I said, hello, I'll be an adult. I hear they pay you for that here. They welcome me to be that, just to not be crazy for a second.
You've got just enough of the cynicism to really succeed out there, don't you?
Well, no, I understand. I once said that there's people out there who are one taco short on the combination plate. So, you got to deal with this. But I never expected. Never had high expectations. I just did whatever was. I knew you could make a hit and a miss with the same energy. So you might as well enjoy the process. So even the flops I've had a good time. Remember, the best cast party I ever went to I made the cast party, I throw the party, was Blansky's Beauties, a show that went off in 10 weeks. What a great cast party. So you can have fun with whatever you do.
Of course, how would you not have fun with Blansky's Beauties?
Well, yes, there were a lot of very beautiful girls on the show. But again, it was a show that we had to shoot, it was going off, and it's always depressing. I had the depressing jobs, too. I had to tell casts that were going off the air. I recently did a David Letterman show, and I got bumped. I couldn't get on that night. I had to get on the other, and it was so sad. But that used to be my job on the old Tonight Show with Jack Parr. Used to have to go there and tell some magician, well, we don't have time for you, sir. And I understand, having been on both sides of it, the feeling and sensitivity. So I'm very sensitive to everybody in this business. It's a tough business. Not like selling microphones. Hello, do you like this microphone? No, it's not made of the right steel. It's not hard. In show business, they're rejecting your brain, your look, your soul. So it's very hard to somebody say, you're not a nice-looking person. I don't like what you do. You have no talent. That's hard.
After this short break, Garry Marshall talks about his childhood struggles.
If you've ever wondered where to find the captivating books we discuss on Now I've Heard Everything, wonder no more.
Just tap the link in our show notes or visit our website, heardeverything.com.
Plus, when you purchase through our affiliate links, you're not only diving into great stories, but also supporting this podcast.
And we thank you for your support.
Now back to my 1995 conversation with Garry Marshall.
When you tell an actor that he's not right, that doesn't mean he's not a good actor for some other part. That just means he's not right for Fonzie.
Well, that's what I try to convey. They don't take it like that. They take it as a personal insult that insulted them, their entire family, and their entire life. So they take it. I remember when we were kids, my mother, who was very sarcastic, used to call Penny the world's worst child. Penny, you're the world's worst child. Penny grew up thinking, she's the world's worst. And I said, Ma, why do you say that to Penny? And she says, I'm only kidding. She knows it. Well, a lot of times people take it personally. The key in show business is not to take anything personally. Even when the critics rap you, I've been rapped by the best. I've gotten some accolades. The worst ever was when they rapped people in my family. My daughter did a play in Chicago, a little theater, 50 seats, and one of the reviewers said, better than go see this play, you should sit home and eat glass. What kind of review of 8 young people, they didn't mention any names, but 8 young people struggling? I don't think they got to be that harsh. So what I say, and I talk about in the book, the support system you need if you're going in any business as you grow up, or show business particularly. You got to get your parents behind you, your friends, or people got to help you, because there's a lot of rejection. Even if I say it nice, like you just said, Bill, you don't work for me, but you might work over there. It's hard for them to take it as a compliment.
You have to serve the audience who's going to enjoy that television show, that movie. And you can't put somebody in the role just because, you don't want to you don't want to be nice and not say reject him. Oh, he's not quite right, but he's such a nice guy. We'll hire him anyway. You can't do that.
No, but there's some people. I had a director once who never wanted to reject anybody, so he'd say, you were wonderful, I think you're going to get it. Then we wouldn't give the part. So these poor people went home with such expectations. I said, don't do that. That's not... Say, listen, you did well. We don't know if you'll get it, but you did a very good audition. That's the best I can say. But I have to believe that who I'm putting up before that audience is the best person I pick. If I pick wrong too many times, I'm out of the business. But so far, I've picked pretty good. I mean, Julia Roberts screen tested with a couple other people. We put her and Richard Gere together, and I said, there's chemistry. And it seemed to work. Al Pacino, Michelle Pfeiffer worked very well, and Frankie and Johnny. So
Kurt Russell?
Oh, Goldie Hawn, one of my favorites, and Kurt Russell. See, they already had chemistry because they were going together. It's very hard when you take 2 people who never met and put them together. And I thought with Al and Michelle, I remember saying, well, you guys know each other. You did Scarface. And she said, I was 19. He never spoke to me. I just did the scenes. He didn't say anything. And Al says, well, you were too pretty. I had a girlfriend, and she didn't want me to talk to you so much. So they had this whole thing that they didn't know each other very well. But on Frankie and Johnny, I sat them in a room and we talked. And by the end of the picture, they were very supportive of each other. And to this day, they talk to each other and try to help each other in life.
Does it sometimes surprise you that not to sound maudlin, but does it sometimes surprise you that you're even here? I mean, you had so many health problems when you were young.
Well, people ask me why I'm such a positive person is because I had a bad growing up period where I was sick all the time. My parents were fine. They didn't hurt me. They didn't do anything. But they called us the world's worst once in a while. But they never hit us particularly. But no, I have... had a struggle as a youth. I know. I think Leon Uris said you spend the second half of your life recovering from your first half. But my first half was tough because I had allergies, sicknesses. They told me if I didn't move out of New York to a warm climate that I would probably die, but we never moved. Nobody packed a suitcase. I used to wait when I was 8 years old. Anybody want to go on a trip? Nobody wanted to go. So I just was so happy to be alive and to last this. I just turned 60. I've been here a while. That I'm thrilled to still be going and doing things, and so that's why I never ask for much. My expectation was I shouldn't be sick. I shouldn't get a headache. I shouldn't fall down and faint in the middle of the day. If that didn't happen, then whatever else happened, piece of cake.
You made reference in the book that People magazine used to call you Garry Happy Days Marshall, and now it's Garry Pretty Woman Marshall. When you think of yourself, what goes in that space in the middle?
Gary, happy to be alive, Marshall. I guess I hope someday they say, Gary, wake me when it's funny, Marshall, because that's the name of the book. But I don't even have my middle name, really, I very rarely have said that, is Kent, K-E-N-T. My mother had this fancy name. My real name is Masciarelli, but my father changed it to Marshall, so we kept the name Marshall. But Gary Kent Marshall is what my mother named me, and we did, my son, who works in a rock band, Chavez, he uses the name Scott Masciarelli. And when I was a drummer, actually, I was not good at drumming, but I had hair that flipped up in the air and distracted you from realizing I didn't play well. But my name was Flip Masciarelli in Chicago in those days. I went to at Northwestern. I played all over Chicago.
Is there one project you've been dying to do, but you've just never gotten around to it, or you've never had the chance to do it, you've never had the opportunity to do it, that you'd love to do?
Well, not a specific project, but what I have left on my platter, because I did all the different jobs and I moved around. I wrote I Spy for television and other dramatic things. So I've done a lot of different things. My theater career is coming along. I did my third play, ran a while in New York, and there's productions around the country called Wrong Turn at Lungfish. So theater is a lot ahead of me. I want to do more theater, but the thing I haven't done is a musical. I want to do a musical, a Broadway musical or a musical film, either way or both at the same project. So, because I even though I was a bad drummer, I love music. If you watch my TV shows and my movies, music is a very key part. I mean, Wind Beneath My Wings, sung by Bette Midler, carried Beaches right into the box office. And Happy Days always had a Happy Days band. The theme songs of the title song of Laverne and Shirley was one of the things that made Laverne and Shirley. Laverne and Shirley was one of the few TV shows ever to debut #1 in the ratings. And I always attributed it to the fact that the promo for it had that music playing. You know, that uplifting music, two girls going to make it with nothing going for them. So I'd like to do a musical someday and combine all my love of different types of music. Opera music made the end of Pretty Woman. They said, don't play opera music. People don't like opera music. I said, it works here. I like opera music. Leave me alone. And so that's what I could never do an opera, but I'll integrate it into my musical. Wow. People sometimes say, do they have any perception of you and Hollywood people? I think the perception is that this glamorous life we lead, but I have 3 kids. My wife's a nurse. I'm a hypochondriac. We've been together 32 years. But I think the balance of glamour and reality are what keeps me going, and I think there is some glamour out there. I mean, to have lunch with Cindy Crawford, or talk to Barbara Hershey, who's a brilliant actress, is great. And my sister Penny, she's in show business more than me. She hangs around. I kind of hanging with family. But she, at her New Year's party, I remember Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and myself, we all were sitting there chatting together, and that's a pretty good crowd. I mean, I said, I didn't realize there were so many Italians in the business. But yet that's not every day. That's mostly, we live like everywhere else. When my shows were 1, 2, and 3 in the ratings, I remember I told my wife, hey, why don't we? She says, I know, it's wonderful. Come help me take out the garbage. So all I say is balance of life, I think, is the answer to a good life.
Garry Marshall died in 2016. He was 81. Now, you can get your copy of Wake Me When It's Funny by Garry Marshall by tapping the link in our show notes, by clicking the link in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube, or by going to our website, heardeverything.com. We may earn an Amazon commission if you make a purchase. Heardeverything.com is where you can also hear my conversations with 2 other Hollywood giants. My 1994 talk with Robert Evans.
I made people cry, I made people laugh, I made people fall in love. I've evoked emotions that no one else could do. I'm an image maker and an emotion maker, and maybe I'm a little crazy, because to accomplish what I do, you can't do it normally.
And my 1993 conversation with Dawn Steele.
When Leonard Maltin or Siskel and Ebert didn't like one of my movies, I took it as though they didn't like one of my children.
And of course, we post new episodes of Now I've Heard Everything every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you can find us everywhere you find podcasts. And thank you so much for listening. Next time on Now I've Heard Everything, I'll bet you didn't know that next Monday, July 14th, is World Chimpanzee Day. So we'll revisit my 1990 conversation with the world's foremost authority on chimpanzees, Jane Goodall.
When I was a child, I had two dreams. One was to study animals, work with them, learn about them, preferably in Africa. And the other was to write books about them. So how fortunate I've been that those dreams have come true.
That's next time. Now I've Heard Everything. I'm Bill Thompson.